tears aren't coming. The tears just aren't coming.
Just to be clear, it looks like he's dead or he is dead.
It just looks like he's dead. He's got, like, blue paint on him or something. But he's going to be fine.
What is wrong with you?
Doctor!
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and this week it has not been good for Dan Slott. He did some retconning as far as a long-standing Fantastic Four family character that has also played heavily into Dawn of X with what Jonathan Hickman's been doing over there. And certainly, the fate of Franklin Richards has been actually a huge plot point. They even had a mini-series from Chip Zdarsky dedicated to it. And I guess Dan Slott, in some respects, pulled the rug out from underneath everybody with his retcon. We're going to talk about the retcon, and then we're going to talk about his response, which I will say this. Dan Slott was not made for crisis mode. He does not know how to handle crisis or pressure or anything, and he kind of cracked under the pressure. We're going to talk about that a little bit, too. Obviously, with me is the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado. Doc, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm not sure whether or not people stop making me have to defend Dan Slott.
Yeah. So let's get right in. Before we get into the details, I will say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Either way, we want to hear your thoughts on Dan Slott's retconning of Franklin Richards in the comment section. And we want to know what your thoughts are about his kind of response on social media, which I think was less than stellar. So let's get into the details, Doc. This is the page. And essentially, Franklin is ready to come back to Krakoa. Professor X is speaking to him telepathically, and he tells him that he can't come back. And he says, why not? This is what Professor X says. Because you are not a mutant, and according to Cerebro, you never have been one. As a child, you dreamed of being different, special, without intending to. You used your cosmic powers to alter every cell in your own body till it appeared as if you possessed the X gene. And therefore, he is no longer allowed on Krakoa, and he is no longer a mutant. Now, when Franklin Richards was introduced in the late 60s, he was not a mutant. He was the son of obviously Reed Richards and Sue Storm, but that was added to the character, I believe, in the 80s. So that has essentially been who the character is for 40 years. As you have called him in the past, he is a walking Deus Ex Machina. He can fix everything because his mutant power was so powerful. Yeah, I believe in Dawn of X, he was called one of the Omega 11 mutants, one of the 11, I believe. What do you think about this retcon? Did Dan Slott go too far? I feel like Dan Slott is trying to reclaim Franklin Richards as a Fantastic Four only character rather than kind of sharing it with X-Men.
I think you're right. Yeah, I know this is the beginning of whatever the story arc is going to be in Fantastic Four, so whatever. But yeah, look, this is obviously a turf war between Slott and Hickman for who gets control over Franklin Richards. But it's been established in Marvel Comics for decades. I mean, we're going back to when the X-Men started and mutants started getting actually popular in the 70s. That most children of either science freaks, cosmically enhanced weirdos, anybody that gets mutated on because of some situation that they're in, that if they have children with another person that has similar power sets, as long as they're not like aliens or magic, their kids become mutants. It's almost a guarantee. It's been basically Marvel established lore. And in this case, we have Franklin Richards, that is the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, both of which are cosmically enhanced science freaks. Their kids are going to be mutants. I almost well, not guaranteed, but if their kids have powers, it's no. But if their kids have powers, it's because they are mutated. Because nothing. Franklin never had anything occur to him. Nothing happened to him. He was born like this. That makes him a fucking mutant. This is not complicated, Dan Slott.
Now, my biggest problem is I read that X-Men Fantastic Four miniseries by Chip Zdarsky and the Dodsons. I really enjoyed it. It's been one of the best things they've put out at Dawn of X. I thought it was a good story. It was certainly addressing all these issues here. And I'm still pissed that Chip Zdarsky is not writing Fantastic Four, but that is a conversation for another day. So I'm pissed that they made me spend money on that if they were always going to change this. But I'm not completely opposed to changing Franklin Richards to where he can't fix everything.
I do agree to that extent. He has been a walking Deus Ex Machina for basically from the time he developed powers. Once they started exploring it, he's basically a god. He can do anything. I mean, okay, so fine. If he wanted to make himself, if it is just cosmic powers, and he wanted to make himself a mutant, that still makes him a mutant, Charles, regardless of whether or not, if he wanted to add an X gene to himself, he can, and it makes him a mutant. If he wanted to decide that he's 93 foot tall with a 4-story long dong, he can, because that is his power. He can make anything happen that he wants to happen. So
you, Doc, you are opposed to this retconning of Franklin Richards. He should still be a mutant.
It's stupid. Yes, this whether he was born a mutant or whether he made himself into a mutant by virtue of his reality altering powers, the reality is he is a mutant.
Okay. Well,
no matter what Dan Slott says.
We definitely want to hear from the viewer comments as far as, do you agree with the retcon? Do you think it's a good change, bad change? Should he have done this? Now let's get into Dan Slott's reaction to this. He got a lot of pushback, some of it pretty valid, some of it not so valid. We'll step through it. The first thing he did, though, he had the worst instincts ever. His first instinct was to throw all of his peers and coworkers under the bus. And this is what he had to say. I also want to assure you, Fantastic Four and X fans alike, that for the past couple of years at all the Marvel retreats, everyone, all the Marvel offices and writers have heard my plans for the characters and know where the stories are going.
Well, considering that we know how, completely checked out on this work is that Jonathan Hickman is, based on, what's going on in the X division right now, you might have told him, but guess what? He wasn't fucking listening.
Yeah, well, what do you think about his instinct to throw everyone else under the bus and say it's their fault too, instead of just owning up to his own creative decision?
It's Dan Slott. I mean, the minute this guy would ever grow a spine, and I mean, the guy is basically, earthbound fucking Mojo. He's a spineless blob, and will try to throw everyone else under the bus rather than take responsibility for his own actions. So this is par for the course. I would expect absolutely nothing better, and absolutely no extra spine out of Dan Slott than what he showed right here.
Yeah, he should have just owned up to his own decisions and owned it because he thinks it's a good decision. So I thought this was pretty weak. But going on, this thing, I do think he has a point here. And this was a response within the threads. He said, I'm taking a character who's had various levels of superpowers for some time, whether at Tattletale, Psylord, or Powerhouse, and taking his powers away. He's on a journey, much like Ben Grimm was on a journey when he wasn't the Thing for a while. It's a story. This is one chapter.
That's valid.
I think he is correct there. We probably should give it some time, although I do understand the outrage initially.
Look, whether this is a story or not is yes, that's a valid point. But this is almost a Captain America Hail Hydra point. yes, that was the beginning of a story too. It doesn't mean the story's any fucking good or that you should have started with that foot forward in the first place. This is I'm going to pull the rug out from under the reader way to start the story, the same way Nick Spencer did with Captain America, the same way that a lot of modern creators, because it's the only tool in their fucking toolbox. And while he has a point that putting Franklin Richards on a journey is a good thing, the way that he's doing it, the way he's starting out, is basically by just trying to piss everybody off.
Well, he knew he was going to get blowback on this. There's no way.
Yes, he knew, but first of all, Dan Slott is the last person on the planet to ever actually have to do his own PR whenever
Absolutely.
He gets blowback.
Yeah, he couldn't handle it all. An interesting point about this, and I'm squarely on Dan Slott's side on this one. There were a lot of people that were using it, analogizing this to like TERFs or blackface, basically, that Franklin Richards, while he is human, sees himself as a mutant, and then Krakoa not accepting him is almost like an analogy to trans people in today's society not being accepted. And then the other side of the coin is the Rachel Dolezal, where he's presenting himself as something that he's not. And then when you find out that he wasn't a mutant all along, this was a response to somebody kind of saying something that be fair, this entire time in the previous post, we were talking back and forth about the comic universe of all this, not the politics and sensitive real world issues of race, sexual identity, or other applicable X-Men metaphors. That's throwing for a big curve into. Now, I can see 100% where people are coming to that and can come to that conclusion. But I can guarantee I'm not the biggest Dan Slott in the world, Slott fan in the world. There's no way when he was writing this up, he said, you know what? I want to take a hardline stance on TERF, or I want to take a hardline stance on blackface and present an alternative take, or I think he just thought he was adjusting the character. He didn't realize how this could be interpreted.
I don't think he realizes it, because I don't think he realizes how crazy a lot of people have become on this shit where they will find it. They will search it out in everything. So you can't make changes to characters. You're going to get this. And he should know by now, because these are the people that he wants as fans. Whereas the people like us that are sitting here going, that's a ridiculous thing, to say, are the people he doesn't want as fans. So he should realize how crazy a lot of people are on this subject. It doesn't matter whether it's a poorly, an in poor taste Halloween costume from 1973, or Rachel Dolezal. They will find a way to make everything a metaphor. I mean, they've spent how long now basically turning the X-Men into nothing but a metaphor. There's no adventure anymore. It's just a metaphor. So touching mutants in general, he needs to understand that is who he's going to be dealing with. And if he doesn't realize that, then he's fucking stupid.
Well, I think he was probably naive and not realizing what the implications of his story really were, or how you could roll it into current day and the things that are being discussed now. Really, he went on this apology tour for like a full day, and he kept apologizing, and he should have never done that. This is social media. You put out one apology, if that's what you want to do, a blanket apology, direct people to that, and then you wait for the next, whatever the next big hysterical thing that's going on Twitter for people to forget about you, in 20 minutes. But then there's all this ridiculousness who's like, I'm inoculated to this stuff after killing Spidey, I'm over here just having a good time, doesn't affect me. And then you can slowly see him losing his mind over the day as he was getting negative feedback and basically going insane.
Yes. I mean, we all know that his inoculation is complete horseshit, because if he's inoculated, the 38 apology tweets after that one wouldn't have happened. And first of all, look, Dan, you're a moron, but don't apologize to anybody. Write whatever the hell you want. Don't apologize. Ignore it. They're going to lose interest in this like 5 minutes from now and get mad about something else. Or just, instead of that, yell about Trump. You do it all the time anyways, and it's a good distraction. No, come on. He's, for this is a giant case of methinks thou doth protest too much, Mr. Slott. Stop it. Just
Dan Slott is uniquely not made to handle criticism or any type of crisis. His response to it was extremely poor. And he certainly exacerbated the situation, made it last much longer than he needed to. But those are my thoughts on it.
Dan Slott is uniquely gifted at, like, basically, he is to not be on social media and to eat a lot of Cheetos.
It's weird. How often does this man have to embarrass himself in Marvel Comics before they go, you know what? Might be time to just move on. You embarrass yourself a lot. You make us look stupid. And he certainly does that. He's always lashing out at the fans and stuff like that. So I don't understand what the cost of benefit, like what's the benefit for the money that they are paying Dan Slott? He's not selling comic books. He's pissing the fans off. When they come back at him and they call him on his bullshit, he loses his mind. And now he's even creating controversies he didn't mean to.
Yeah. Dan, look, dude, get off social media. You are a D-list writer that only is on A-list books because every A, B, and C-list writer at that company fucking quit. You were there because there was nobody else. And the fact
he's Triple H.
Yes.
You're the only guy left.
Yeah. I mean, he really is. So look, Dan, stop overestimating your own importance, because eventually everyone else in that company will recognize exactly who you are. And it's not like you're getting paid a lot. You're just getting paid a lot in comparison to all the other F-list creators they hired behind you. So just stop. Eventually, you're just going to do more. You're just doing more damage to yourself than needs to be done. But at the same time, you didn't deserve anywhere near the criticism you got for this. You wrote not the criticism that you are actually upset about. You deserve criticism for it because it's bad and it's stupid, not because of turf and blackface nonsense. So, internet, stop making me defend Dan Slott.
Absolutely. So that'll be it for the day, Doc. I appreciate you coming on here talking about Dan Slott and the man that is uniquely unqualified to handle a crisis.
And uniquely qualified to eat Cheetos.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.